Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and all right, you little freshman bitches, air raid! Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margo D. Hello, my friend.
Wipe that face off your head, bitch.
And with There's More, joining us is our podcasting brother from another mother, Adam Riske from F This Movie. Hello, friend.
Check you later. Check you later.
Chicks hate that, man.
They hate that shit. Check you later.
Sasha Jensen should have been the Sean William Scott of the early 90s.
You are absolutely right. He's funny as shit.
He is, yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys are already cracking me up. We are dorking out about 1993's Dazed and Confused, written and directed by Richard Linklater, and it stars everybody. I don't even know how to list everybody in here, so I just don't know if I should even try. Let's start with this. Seriously, I don't even know if I should try. Should I try to list all these people? Jason London, Wiley Wiggins, Sasha Jensen, Michelle Burke, Roy Cochran, Ben Affleck, Adam Goldberg, Anthony Rapp, Marisa Ribisi. Did I pronounce that right, Margo?
Yes.
Yes! Oh, some dude named Matthew McConaughey, Cole Hauser, Joey Lauren Adams. Oh my God. Parker Posey, Nikki Cat. I could keep going on. Renee Zellweger's in there somewhere. Oh my gosh, so many people. Sean Andrews. Whatever happened to that guy? Did either of you see this in the theater?
No. I did. Yeah. I did. I saw it 3 times, and I was one of the only people in the theater every single time. This was not a hit when it came out, but it was in my sweet spot because when I was a kid, I thought the older kids, which were teenagers, young adults in the 70s, were really cool. So to me, this is like, it was such wish fulfillment to like hang out because I thought my own generation sucked, which it did.
I think everybody thinks their generation sucks, and that's something that they talk about in the movie. The Marisa Ribisi character says that, like, obviously the 70s suck and the 80s are gonna rule, and
radical.
Like, yeah, and as we grew up in the 80s, Margo and I, because we're old. Everyone knows the 80s sucked and the 70s ruled. It's the thing.
And the 90s were great. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I saw this in the theater too. It played at the tiny, tiny art house theater in Chico where I was going to college. It was like this tiny little art house theater that had a couch in the front row called the Pageant Theater. And I also saw it maybe 2 or 3 times in the theater, and it was not crowded because nobody was seeing this movie, and I didn't understand why they weren't seeing this movie because it was so great.
I didn't see it in theaters. I ended up seeing it on video when I was in high school, but it came out when I was in junior high. And I do remember really distinctly, though, that I went with my family to see a sold out show at the Dollar Theater of Rookie of the Year. And for some reason, they played the trailer for Dazed and Confused before it. So it's like a bunch of families. And then like there's this, like high school party movie and everything. And I remember that they had the scene in the trailer of, of Rory Cochran talking about Martha Washington and how she had like a big bowl ready for George Washington. And I for sure thought he meant like a bowl of soup or a bowl of chili or something like that.
So innocent.
I had no idea what was going on. But this movie kind of was infamous for me because I had seen it before I started working at Blockbuster Video, but I've confirmed this with other people. No Blockbuster Video ever could keep a copy of this movie without it being stolen.
Yes.
Really?
Like the most stolen movie of that generation at Blockbuster, just because like high school kids would rent it and then just never bring it back.
Yep, my college roommate also, I worked at the movie theater, she worked at Blockbuster, so we had our like movie stuff covered, and she said the same thing. She's like, that they're always stealing it. It was it's because it's so rewatchable.
It really is.
I have seen this movie I've seen it countless times. I saw it multiple times at the theater. I was one of those people, like my roommate and I rented it a lot when it wasn't stolen. Like I own the movie. I've watched it a bunch of times with like my sister. I laugh out loud every time I watch it. I enjoy different things about it when I watch it. And it's just like good, like background movie too.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the little vignettes, because there's not like a major huge conflict hanging over everything. It's just one of those movies that you can like walk in and out of and just have on. And of course the music's super dope and it's so quotable. It's just such a perfect little movie. I could see why people want to steal it.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard to explain to people why it was so good. And I think there's certain generations that just still don't get it. Because they're like, well, what happens in this thing?
Nothing.
And nothing. It's just but they get everything down perfectly what it's like to be a teenager. And I like the fact that he hired Wiley Wiggins, like this untrained actor, to be this super awkward kid. I mean, it just really, I like Wiley Wiggins, by the way. I think he's great.
I liked everyone in this movie. I think they're really, really great, and they feel like they've known each other for a really long time. And I'm sure there was like a camaraderie on the set, and these are all these young people hanging out together, so I'm sure they all really grew close, and there was all kinds of drama and hooking up behind the scenes. But on screen, if they feel like people who grew up together and that they know how to interact with each other and they know each other, and I like that they are like nerds and jocks and stoners and popular girls, but they're not, that rivalry isn't necessarily there. Like, I like how they like intermingle with each other. You know, I like that the Cynthia, the curly redhead, and Anthony Rapp and Adam Goldberg are these dorks, but they don't shit on them for being dorks.
And they're not such dorks that they don't hang out with everybody else.
Yes.
Right.
That's one thing that I liked. I noticed this time especially was there's like that scene where Parker Posey wants the incoming freshman girl to air raid, but it's at the party. And then Anthony Rapp is like, no, she's with me. Like, don't do it and everything like that. But Parker Posey, like when she's trying to like say, to like overrule Anthony Rapp, she calls him Tony. And it's just like such a nice little touch where it's just like, no, these guys have probably known these two have probably known each other since they were like 5 years old.
Yes.
It's like,
right.
Even though they run in different circles and they're completely different, like they have a mutual understanding of one another. And it's not like, you're a nerd, like you shouldn't even be at this party and stuff like that. Yeah.
Everyone's invited.
Yeah.
Go to the Moon Tower. Everyone's invited.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're like 12 years old or 30.
Exactly. You just have to be cool with Kiss.
Yeah,
that's right. That's it. I want a moon tower. San Francisco needs a moon tower. Get on it, San Francisco. Use some public funds to create us a moon tower. Please. We spend money on stupid shit here. Let's get a moon tower.
Can we just talk about a couple of things that I think are weird, and I'm glad they're in the movie?
Yes.
Which it's the torturing of the freshmen. It's first the girls. I mean, they're forced around on leashes and air raid, and they're sprayed with. I mean, did this come from real experience from him, or is he exaggerating it? I mean, I love that it's there. But it just, and then of course, let's get to the paddling. What is that all about?
Apparently this was I'm like, I heard that this was a thing that they were doing in his town. This did not happen in my town that I'm aware of. Like, this was not a thing. Adam, you have thoughts and feelings?
Yeah, this stuff didn't happen like in high school for me, but I wonder how much Dazed and Confused influenced the guys in my fraternity, because like sizzle like bacon and being paddled were very much things that happened to me when I was being hazed and a pledge in my frat. So I don't know if these are like just hazing institutions or if it's like art influenced life, but I've paddled somebody once, and
Oh, wow.
let me tell you, I only hit the person on the butt once. Let me tell you, a part of your soul immediately dies the moment it makes impact. And you feel like the worst person on earth. And like, I couldn't do it after that. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And he's like, it wasn't even that hard. Don't worry about it. I'm like, oh my God. And then, but yeah, like Sizzle Like Bacon was like another thing. And yeah, I tend to think that Richard Linklater kind of, one of the reasons why it feels so natural is he probably is pulling these things from real life experiences, and just he seems to know kind of the comings and goings of like growing up in Texas really well, especially around like Austin and all that from all these movies that he's done.
It just seems a little homoerotic. I mean, these much bigger boys with these little kids. There's something very strange going on there. I mean, they're actually like putting holes in the paddles, so it gives them better swing. I do, but I that's what the movie is. I love the part where the kids are, you know, Mitch, where are you, Mitchie? We're coming to get you.
Poor Mitch.
And they go to the teacher. And he's just giggling, like he just fucking loves it. These kids are probably assholes all year, and so he's like, this is their revenge. I mean, there's little parts like it's a weird thing, but I guess that's where it came from. I mean, I'm sure that's what happened to him in his town.
If Cole Hauser was hunting for me to paddle me, I would just want him to murder me just so I didn't have to live in fear anymore of Cole.
Yeah,
like he scares me, and so he's so much. And in this movie, it's just like, it's like, hey, Mitch, grandma.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What else has he been in?
Cole Hauser. Good Will Hunting. He was the villain in Too Fast, Too Furious. He was in Higher Learning. He was the lead, like, neo-Nazi in that. He's been in a ton of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, he takes a lot of, him and the Ben Affleck character, they take a lot of pleasure in this to the point where it's a little creepy, a little disturbing. He's also got this like weird Christopher Walken delivery going on that I was like, what are you doing? Like, just the way he talks, it's kind of reminded me of young Christopher Walken, and I don't know if that was intentional, but that's what it reminded me of. But Ben Affleck, he's
terrifying.
He is. I would have nightmares about if someone like a Ben, he looks so big compared to everyone else, but I think it's appropriate because he's flunked. He flunked senior year and he gets to spank kids 2 years in a row. So it kind of makes sense that he seems so much bigger than everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's
such a very angry person.
And he's so angry. He's such a prick.
Yeah. He's unrecognizable.
Yes.
He looks so different now, yeah.
I've watched this movie a million times with my sister, and she just now realized that was Ben Affleck.
He wasn't in the cast reading. There was a cast reading last year, and it was to support Democratic candidates in Texas just before the election. The whole cast was there. It was awesome, except for Ben Affleck. They had Ashton Kutcher play his part. Which was kind of perfect in and of itself. I was like, yeah, I get that. But the Rory Cochrane was super high.
He has to be, right?
Right.
He's like, I got to get into character.
And Matthew McConaughey has not aged a day. Like,
so
he looks
weird.
Exactly the same age as he did then. And then he looked like much older. He was only 23 or 24. He looks like 30. That could be the haircut and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But he looks exactly, he hasn't aged in, almost 30 years now.
It's all that pot smoking and bongo playing.
His performance was, bongo. Him with his bongos. His performance this time was the one that really stood out for me because I almost take for granted, like, because his character has become so iconic in like the space of this movie that it's like watching Pulp Fiction and like noticing Samuel L. Jackson. It's just like, oh yeah, it's Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction. But like for some reason, like the McConaughey performance, like, I thought was just so funny. Like, this time, I like everything that he was saying, where he was, oh God, there was one line that he had that killed me, where he's just like, I think it was Rory Cochrane. They're like leaving the Emporium, and he's just like, "Hey, do you want to ride with us?" And he's like, "I'm here, man. I'm here."
It's a committed performance.
It's just such like a great comedic performance. Yeah.
It's very authentic.
Mm-hmm.
And I read that so much of his dialogue was improvised, and I guess that explains why it just feels so natural. He's just so that character. I mean, I hope he's not creepy, still cruising on high school girls in real life, but
they stay the same age.
It's hilarious and gross at the same time. Like, but I love him too, and I think you're right, Adam. Like, you just take for granted like how good he is in this movie. And like his whole. The performance, the lines, just even the way he walks, like the scene where they're walking through the Emporium and who's with him? It's Pink and Mitch Kramer, and they're all walking together, and it's kind of the slow motion thing. Just like the way he is and how he carries himself he's so good in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he has to be, there's something in between the lines, like, of the script. Like, you can't just get anybody to play this character and for it to work that well. It's like when you look at the Marissa Ribisi character, it's just like, you need to like get why she would like him. And it's so easy to understand. It's just like, it's almost like you're laughing to yourself. It's like, it's against my better judgment, but yeah, this is just completely working for me.
Yeah.
Like, if I was hanging out,
man.
Yeah, it's like if I was hanging out with this group of people, like, they would tell me, they're just like, "Oh, that guy's like 30 and he cruises on high school girls," but then he's just like, "Hey, do you want to get Aerosmith tickets?" I'd be like, "Yeah, all right."
Sure. I'll go front row. Are you kidding?
Yeah, I'm just like,
amazing.
A road trip with this guy seems fun. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, if you're spending all your time with Anthony Rapp and Adam Goldberg, maybe you need a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah.
Maybe Adam Goldberg is hilarious.
Oh my God, he's so funny. The stuff where, so, you know, there's the whole thing. He's walking into the party. Someone's token some reefer, and he has this altercation with Nicky Cat, and just how
Who's
like
also scary,
so scary, and how he like starts like pumping himself up. The way he's like giving himself so much anxiety, like, and you know, the way he says like, it's just gonna be another fucking failure that's gonna stay with me for fucking ever. Like the way he like starts like pumping himself up, like, I have to deal with this, or it's just like you could see it like happening, and then his whole plan of, I'm gonna throw in like one punch and someone will break it up, and no one breaks it up. It's so awful. Because you like them, so you like everybody, almost everybody, you like them, and you don't want bad things to happen to them. But I felt so bad for him that he gets his ass kicked.
Good punch though.
He did get in a good punch, and it's interesting because there's, like we said, there's like almost no conflict in this movie. We have Ben Affleck's O'Banion, who's an angry prick. We have Pink, who's unwilling to sign like a clean living pledge or whatever that thing is, which is like so not really a big deal, but kind of hangs in the movie. And then we have Clint, you know, who's like coming to the party to do two things. He's going to drink some beer and kick some ass, and he's almost out of beer. Like, these are the only conflicts in the movie. And
well, we have Darla.
Oh yeah, and then we have but is
Parker
that
Posey?
Yeah, I guess that counts as a conflict too.
I loved her. She's every mean girl that gave me a hard time in junior high.
She really is.
I mean, every single one of them, but I kind of respect her. She owns her space. This is a woman who doesn't lack self-confidence. And I think Parker Posey's always amazing. She's in a movie.
Another part that she did that made me laugh really hard yesterday was at the beginning when they're hazing everybody and they're done and all the girls are covered in shit and leaving, and Parker Posey's just like, "You love us. You love us."
I do love like her whole delivery of the, you know, air raid and they all get down on the ground. And the way she's saying up, like up, up, up. And she's like shaking her whole body. Like she's just so over the top. Just there's so many good performances in this movie, and they're little. Like Parker Posey's not in the movie a lot, but you definitely remember her. And I keep going back to the Matthew McConaughey thing. It kind of reminds me of this. I'm side tangent. It reminds me a little bit of when we rewatched When Harry Met Sally, Margo, and we were talking about how Sally, Meg Ryan's performance is so iconic and so perfect that you can't imagine anyone else playing that part. And every romantic comedy after that is measured by Sally. Like Sally's so great. And I'm like, whoever won Oscars that year, they were not as good as Meg Ryan in When Harry Met Sally. And I feel that way about Matthew McConaughey in this movie. Like all of these kind of teen comedies have like a Matthew McConaughey type character that spouts wisdom, that hangs out, and they're not as good. Like he is the one they are measuring you measure all those performances against this. Whoever won Best Supporting Actor that year was not as good as Matthew McConaughey in Dazed and Confused.
It was Tommy Lee Jones in The Fugitive.
See, he was not as good.
I fucking love The Fugitive.
I agree with you that Meg Ryan in When Harry Met Sally deserved the Oscar over Jessica Tandy in Driving Miss Daisy.
Absolutely.
Not a stretch. Not a controversial opinion.
One thing I like about the McConaughey character too is like he's kind of like the Jiminy Cricket in the ear of Jason. Is it Jeremy or Jason London?
Jason London. Yes. I know the Jason London brothers.
Okay, of Jason London. But his point is like really valid. Like it's maybe not a big deal for this particular pledge, but there is something to be said of like, if you start always just unquestioningly like going along with other people's kind of power moves, like when will it stop? Like you have to kind of think for yourself. And even if it's uncomfortable in the short term, like you need to keep your individuality. And like, I think that's something that they don't beat over your head either. It's like a kind of, clean way that they do it. And I enjoy that. I also think one thing I noticed with this movie, because there's like not a wait, even though the whole movie is so like leisurely, and I don't mean that as a negative. There's no wasted moments. Like everything in it is a bit that works. And I would love to know like how long like maybe like the rough edit of this movie was, or the work print cut, because it's like, how much did they cut out? Because they like made it such a muscular movie where like every bit of it just is solid.
I love it.
I like when they go to the kids' parents. The kids' parents are going to go away for the weekend, and he's wearing the leisure suit, with leisure suit, excuse me, with the short sleeves. I mean, it's, and he's going to get the beer, and then they kind of, and then the parents, the way that Rory Cochrane is just like walking across the lawn, like totally stoned and tripping over their front steps as he's going in. Like you said, it's all these little moments that feel so true. I have to say, like, Jason London is really good. I mean, he's super cute. I mean, I just thought he was hot.
He does
Sexy.
have that. He has that 70s look about him that's so perfect. The hair and the clothes. It's like a
puka shell necklace.
Yeah, like the Leif Garrett kind of vibe going on. He really has it.
Pink's a nice guy.
He is.
I mean, he doesn't use his power for ill. I mean, he tries to be a good person. He treats everybody equally. He seems like a decent human being. And in a lesser movie, he would just be a shithead. And we would still have to root for him.
Yeah, I like that he doesn't paddle Mitch. Like, he just does the little teeny tap. And then, and he's sweet. We'll come by, we'll pick you up, we'll take you out and get you a beer. And that's why I like his interactions with Michelle Burke's character too, because she is like that, right? She's kind of reluctantly participating in the hazing, and then she's very sweet too. What's her name? Sabrina, I believe. She's really sweet to her. Like, we'll come by, we'll pick you up, and she kind of takes her under her wing and brings her to the party. And I like that there's these two characters who are the quote unquote popular ones, but they're still good people, and the hazing is supposed to be this bonding thing, I guess, right? Is that the idea that you're...
It's just like a ritual. Yeah. It's like something that like eventually, you know, like you're bonded together because you went through this together.
Right.
Like just a pledgeship type thing. Yeah.
I like them. I like both their performances, and it's interesting to me. They go out in the woods and they make out, and then she's like, "But you have a girlfriend." It's like, well, you knew that before you made out with him, but that's okay, whatever. It's the 70s, man.
No, it's also a teenage thing to do.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, Michelle Burke is like the biggest fox ever.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
Like just the fact that she's just beautiful and she's so nice and everything. Like every time I watch this movie, it's just like she's like, there's one scene where it's like her, and then like Anthony Edwards' wife from ER is there as one of her friends, and then like the blonde girl who's kind of like flirting with Sasha Jensen is like the girl from Swingers, and I'm just like, how did you get that many beautiful people in one car? It's like my favorite car of this movie.
And then you have like Joey Lauren Adams, who's like in and out of this movie, and she is, everybody drink, adorable. Like just the cutest. And
she seems nice too. Like, I mean, she's not like, you know, they don't play it up as much as like Michelle Burke's character as being like heart of gold and girl next door type. But like at the end of the movie, you're kind of happy that like Pink didn't fuck her over, and like they're going to get the Aerosmith tickets, and she seems nice, and she's even nice to like Slater, like the Burnout. So it's just,
check you later.
Oh God, I love that guy so much because he reminds me of this guy who was the stoner in our high school, and I'll change his name, but his name was basically like Devin Gribbins, and we were just like, Devin Gribbos, and then we would purposely get him worked up because then he would get like all incensed and get kicked out of class, and it was this fun thing. So it was during like our sociology class, and I'm just like, Devin, and he's like, what? And I'm just like, can you believe that Dr. Birch is 3 minutes late for class? It's like he doesn't respect our time. And he's like, that's what I'm talking about, man. He just gets so worked up, and then Dr. Birch would be like, Devin, have a seat. And he's just like, no, you weren't here on time.
God, that's so funny.
Oh my God.
That is so funny. Is there a character that you relate to the most? That you think is who's closest to you in this movie?
Me, it would be the Michelle Burke character, Jody.
What about you, Adam?
I had a younger brother. I was protective of him, but I probably would have fucked up. I probably would have like, oh, take it easy on John. He's little, you know, just take it easy. And they would beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, and then he'd be like, no wonder. Don't tell him to take it easy on me. I love their interactions too. It's so much like a brother and sister.
I think I'm like a mixture of two guys. One would be Mitch, because I definitely have gone through periods where I'm like looking up to like the upperclassmen and like hanging out with them and like trying to fit in and be cool. But then by the end of like both times, by the end of high school and by the end of college, I kind of became like the Anthony Rapp character where I was just like, I just want to be like, I just want no conflict. Just leave me alone. Like, everything's fine. Like I could talk to anybody. Everything's fine. Like nothing's a big deal, except I didn't date 13-year-olds because that's creepy. Because all right, say he's 17 and she's 13. That doesn't even work for half plus 7 either.
Yeah.
So that's gross.
Yep.
Yeah.
But they are very sweet to each other.
Sure. I mean, but she doesn't know any better.
No, she doesn't.
Yeah.
So you're saying they're probably not still together.
No. Do you think any couple in this movie stayed together?
Supposedly, Mila Jovovich, she married the guy that plays her boyfriend in this movie. He's really funny too. I don't know if it happened to him. they got married and then had it annulled like a week later. They got married during the filming.
I heard that he was a real thorn in the side of most of the cast, especially Jason London. That's why in all the scenes they have together, they barely talk to one another, and it's because two of them hated each other. And he actually did not get invited back to like that cast read through last year because the cast didn't like him.
Damn.
Oh, wow.
And apparently he's like a big weirdo now.
Oh, wow. He's good in the movie.
He is. Yeah. He looks like a burnout Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah. When the guy comes out with the gun, it's in his face and stuff. And Slater, give him the money, man.
That totally... It sucks that like he was so shitty to everyone in the movie, and then it probably impacted Mila Jovovich's screen time too, because her character is so tied to his character. Yeah, she's all over the marketing for this movie.
Yeah,
she was a model at the time. Yeah.
I like her song. That's like one line.
I was trying to think of which character I'm the most like, and there were two. One is I think back in the day I was a lot like the Marisa Ribisi character with the curly red hair. Not that I had curly red hair, but I definitely was hanging out with the two geeks in the car, including a former co-host of this show, Smith, and I, and this other friend of ours, Aaron, and we used to just hang out together and talk about shit like that. So but I also feel like I'm the girl zipping up her pants with pliers.
Yeah.
Just that scene alone, I was like, yeah.
I've been there. I've been that friend.
Do you have does this make you wish you'd gone to school in the 70s?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me wish I went to high school in like Texas where like football is like Friday Night Lights. It makes me wish I was in school in the 70s. Yeah. I mean, like I did enjoy like being in high school in the late 90s, but I mean, it looks incredible in this movie.
Yeah.
Same. I would have loved to have been in high school in the 70s.
With these kids, they're all really nice to each other, and they're just like having a fun time. Except for the hazing, there's no hostility. Yeah. Whereas in my high school, it was very much about cliques.
Same.
And fitting in. Yeah.
That's so 80s.
It's such a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You couldn't pay me to be a teenager now. That sounds like hell. It sounds awful.
Yeah.
There's too many social media platforms for me to embarrass myself on. I couldn't do it. It would be so awful.
Yeah. I'm also amazed how well these, young actors in the early 90s fit into the feel of being in 1976. Because, like, if I look at it as a counterpoint, like, I was watching those Fear Street movies on Netflix.
Oh, yeah. That's on my list.
And it's like Fear Street 94. It's like these kids feel about as much like teenagers in 1994 as like the kid who has never listened to Nirvana but wears a Nirvana shirt they bought it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. There was a show on Hulu called Cruel Summer, and it takes place and it time jumps between 1992, 93, and 94. And they just changed the haircut for a couple of the actors, but it looks to be like they're all in costume. It never feels authentic, where these kids, it feels like they would wear those outfits. Like they're just completely in of their time. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you have a favorite song in the movie? Margo, I know that you had both soundtracks.
I did. I'll mention the soundtracks later. But Kiss is always great. I like Balinese when he's dancing to that in the back of the truck. ZZ Top. Cherry Bomb I love Cherry Bomb when the girl falls. That always makes me laugh. That's all. And Tuesday's Gone by Lynyrd Skynyrd is like their best song.
What about you, Adam?
I mean, like, I'm sure there's a different answer, but for some reason, like, I like the mopey Summer Breeze by Seals and
Yes.
Croft. I'm a big fan of that song. It's like it's August 15th and the summer's almost over and it's raining and you're just staring out the window.
There's no shame in that. It's a good song.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the one. And then what's the song that they play right at the end, like and over the end credits? Is it Slow Ride?
Fog Hat.
That one's really good too.
That is a good one.
That's kind of like how I think that's almost like the anthem of the movie for me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were supposed to get. The director wanted to get Rock and Roll by Zeppelin, and 2 of the 3 members said yes, but Robert Plant said no. And that was the default that they used Fog Hat, which I think is a better song anyway for what they're doing. But Richard Linklater, when he like in the 5th anniversary of the movie or something, he was doing press for it, and he said, "Lifetime ban on Led Zeppelin." He was so angry still that Robert Plant denied him.
Yeah.
But I think he's over it now.
I would hope
this
so.
movie also has something that I love in movies, which is the end credits where they show like all the cast by name and their faces and stuff. I like those.
Yeah.
I like to do that.
I almost feel you have to do that with this movie because there's so many people. I really like, every time I watch this movie, I think I have a different favorite of the song. But right now, I really love Why Can't We Be Friends by War, which is the song playing over Parker Posey's Hazing. I just really love that song. I've always loved that song. So that's the one that
also,
clicked with
this
me.
movie like has that kind of magical element where like it might be a song that on its own you're not crazy about, but like in the context of this movie, it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a few like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be Summer Breeze for me.
Yeah.
I love it in this movie, but I don't know if I would listen to it outside
it's
of
like it's Ted Nugent's Stranglehold, because I just think he's such a douchebag.
He's so gross.
He's so gross, but it's perfect for the movie.
Yeah.
It's perfect for a makeout scene. And there's,
It's true. What else? I'm going through my notes.
I kind of wish, you know how they have that scene outside the Emporium where like Nicky Cat is like making fun of Matthew McConaughey's car.
I love that scene. Yeah.
That makes me so wish that there was like, that's the Fast and Furious spinoff.
I would watch that spinoff.
I would watch the shit out of that.
Yeah. Where it's like the Dom Toretto is like Wooderson and everybody's just like looking up to him.
You could keep this cast. It would work.
Yeah.
I would watch it.
Mm-hmm.
That's hilarious. I want to see that.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite story out of all the stories? Because they all cross, they all intermingle with each other. But is there one that you love the most?
Wooderson always makes me laugh. I do like him. I like the fact that Mitch's mom is cool when he gets home. It like gives him a get out of jail free card. Like, says, all right, just go to bed. Sister told me what happened. And he just like listens to the big.
Are you
headphones.
drunk?
He's like, what? Okay, so there's another podcast I used to listen to, and I can't remember the name of it. It was based in Chicago. But the 2 hosts used to always make fun of Wiley Wiggins and his performance and talk about how shitty it was. And it always made me angry because I think Wiley Wiggins is playing an awkward kid because he was an awkward kid. I think it's perfect. I think it's completely perfect.
I mean, there's like that tick of him like just squinting and like touching his face all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny. It's like it's like getting mad at, it's like that's what makes it Dazed and Confused is little touches like that. So I don't know.
He's not a polished child actor, which I think
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate it too. It makes the movie feel real.
Mm-hmm.
I
All
like
the kids are good.
Yeah,
I like friends. Yeah,
I like his performance in this movie, and I like his dorky friends, and even when they get the beer after they got paddled and they're walking down the street, and the kid drinks it and then he throws it over his head and it breaks, and they're Carl, damn it, Carl, and they like all run their separate ways. Like, I don't know why that just made me.
We're gonna leave your ass.
It just made me laugh really hard, and they're like, "Damn it, Carl."
I don't know. I don't know if I have like a favorite story, but like I think my favorite character is Sasha Jensen, just because like he's so funny. And then there's like that little beat in the end when they're on the 50-yard line and like Jason London's doing his brooding thing where he's like, if these are the best years of my life, I'm going to kill myself. But then like Sasha Jensen's just like has like a counter opinion where it's just like, no, it's just like we're here. Like we're stuck here. This is the part of our life where we're in high school and I'm just going to like do it to the max. And like, I think that that's such a commendable trait because so many people are like, and I'm one of them. It's just like so many people are kind of like, you know, wallowing in their current situation. But then there's some people who are just like, you know what, you know, like, fuck it. Like, I'm just going to have as much fun as I can, you know, do the best that I can and everything like that. And that's a really like kind of almost sweet outlook on life.
I like his physicality too. He just does these little gestures with his shoulders, with his hands. With his mouth, that one scene with Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
So gross. But he's a very physical comedian and it's a great performance. And I think he should have had, what's the name of that kid you just mentioned? Sean Edward Scott, is that his name?
Oh,
Sean William Scott.
Yeah.
Sean William Scott, whatever. He should have had his career because I think he's hilarious.
Even when he's trying to get the girl to leave the classroom and he's like, come on.
Let's go. Come on.
He reminds me of Jason Sudeikis a little bit.
Yeah.
But the only other thing I think I've seen him in is he was like the shitty boyfriend in Halloween 4.
He deserves better than that.
I think he was also,
more stuff.
he was in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie.
That's right. Yeah, he was.
That's right.
He was killed pretty early on, though.
Yeah.
By the
Christy
way,
Swanson's doing a convention in Chicago. Guess who's not going to that table?
no. No, fuck her.
Yeah.
That's sad. She sucks. What a bummer. I do want to give a shout out to the teacher, the history teacher, in her big speech about don't forget what you're celebrating this 4th of July. That a bunch of slave-owning aristocratic white males didn't want to pay their taxes. I share that every 4th of July.
Because she's not wrong.
Because she's not wrong. And also, I just love how she like, Sasha Jensen, again, he says something to her and she just like politely pats him on the head and sends him on his way. Like,
he hits on her.
Yeah, it's, I think we forget, I didn't think about it at the time, but I think about it now. My teachers in high school, they're all in their 20s or 30s. They're babies. Right. They're not, you know, and here she is probably like 25 and this like 17-year-old's like being a dirty, gross kid. And she's like, nice, pat, on your way.
I had that when I was in junior high, or no, I was in high school. I was like 14 or 15. We had this class. It was actually the same class with the stoner kid. It was sociology. And we had this like student teacher, and part of it was like she was teaching us like how to dance. And I don't know why we were doing this in sociology, but she was teaching us how to dance. And then for some reason, and she was probably like in her 20s and I was like 16 or 17, and I was like, I don't want to dance with anybody but you. And she was just like, all right, slow down, pervert, get back.
Oh my God. How perfect is that opening with Sweet Emotion, by the way? The way they time that. I think that's really well done. Yeah. It just sets the mood perfectly.
Also, this movie, like, I started watching it and I was kind of, I've seen it so many times where, like, I kind of had it on in the background and I was, like, doing other things, but still watching it. And I looked up and I'm just like, how am I already 73 minutes into this movie? Yeah. Like, it just, like, flies by.
It really does.
Yeah.
And it captures that mood, too. Of I just was thinking about it when I rewatched this again last night, and I was... that last day of school feeling of like 2.5 months of summer, like, and you're young, you don't have to do anything. Like, I mean, I don't know, Adam, you're a little younger than us, just a little. But when I had summer, we literally didn't do anything. Our parents didn't sign us up for camps. That's the thing now. You're constantly signing your kids up for camps and keeping them busy, and now you're going to do soccer camp, and you're going to do this camp and swim camp and basketball camp, and that was not a thing when I was young. And it was just, now I'm going to sit around on my ass for 2.5 months, and I'm going to
watch daytime TV.
I'm going to watch fucking The Price is Right and ride my bike around, and I would go to the movies. That's what I would do. But that feeling of just nothing.
I'm going to watch Free Willy every time it's on HBO this month. And then I remember getting so pissed off during the summer where like I would turn on HBO and I'm just like, fucking Wimbledon again? When's this going to be over?
I remember it like we were free range children. Like when my parents, we left the door. We went on our bikes, and then it was when it got dark. Your mom would start hollering for you to come home for dinner. And then we would go out again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But very unstructured, which was lovely. Boring.
It's
but
just
lovely.
not a thing now. I mean, Calvin is 9, and I wouldn't be like, okay, well, see you when the street lights come on. Like, that would never happen now.
Right.
It's too dangerous. And just like, that's why, that might be a reason why, like, there's camps and all this structured stuff, because it's just, you need constant supervision.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's like people from my generation brag about, look at this. We used to have skateboards and bikes. We didn't have to wear helmets. We didn't need all that shit. And I'm like, yeah, we needed that shit. Kids got hurt because they weren't wearing a fucking helmet, you morons.
Yeah, the people who bitch about that should have been wearing a helmet on their skateboard.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, give me it's just such a stupid thing to brag about.
I know.
A few days ago, I was playing basketball and I was just shooting around by myself. And then I was at this park near my house, and this kid was in the parking lot just doing like flips on his skateboard. And for some reason in my head, I was just like, yeah, to what end? What are you trying to accomplish? Which is so stupid, because I could say the same thing about me shooting baskets at like 39 years old. But like, but for some reason I was like oddly judgmental of this kid. I'm just like, you're not going to go anywhere with this. Just stop it.
Do you want to hear about some of the other people that auditioned for this movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So Vince Vaughn read for the Ben Affleck part.
He would have been good.
Yeah.
He's a good prick. He could play a good prick.
Oh, absolutely.
There are a lot of young actresses that tried out for different parts. Elizabeth Berkley, Mira Sorvino, Claire Danes. Apparently Claire Danes was really awesome, but too young, which that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Ashley Judd auditioned for Michelle Burke's part. I'm like, I could see that. And then some other ones, Denise Richards, Alicia Silverstone.
Oh, my God.
Kirsten Dunst, the Dunst.
Yep.
Jennifer Love Hewitt. And Reese Witherspoon.
How did they not hire Reese Witherspoon?
Yeah.
Well, apparently Jason London had worked with her in a movie called Man on the Moon or Man in the Moon.
That's a good movie.
And he thought she was too young for the part.
She was. And
yeah.
She was like 10 or 11 at the time.
Yeah, she's probably just too young. But
yeah.
Screw her out of a job.
I know. What an asshole.
I think she's doing fine.
Yeah, I think.
Who was in Mallrats, Jason or Jeremy?
Jeremy.
Okay.
You're my go-to person for the Londons.
I do actually know too much about the Londons. So do you want to hear about the soundtrack a little bit?
Yeah, I do.
It doesn't include the Alien song, For Those Who Listened, by Mila Jovovich. And originally, Geffen Records, because they couldn't get Zeppelin, they wanted to get up-and-coming band Jackal to do a cover of Grand Funk Railroad's We're an American Band over the credits, and Linklater refused. Thank goodness.
Yeah, good job.
Jackal. Jesus Christ, that's a pull. But Rick Derringer, Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo. This is on the first one. Jim Dandy, Black Oak, Arkansas. Like songs I never listened to, but I love that are in this movie. School's Out.
Yeah.
Tush, pronounced Tush, by ZZ Top.
That's the one they're dancing to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And then Tush is when they're beating up the mailboxes.
Oh,
which
right.
I also
Okay, gotcha.
love when they're destroying the mailbox. When Mitch throws the bowling ball through the window, and they're just like, "Fuck it!" I love that. And we have to mention "Rock and Roll All Night" by Kiss.
Mm-hmm.
And "Paranoid" by Black Sabbath. Oh my God, this like the budget here for this must have been huge.
Oh my God, they must have spent so much money just on songs, songwriting.
If you get even more Dazed and Confused, which is 94, you can get your Summer Breeze.
Yeah.
And Why Can't We Be Friends?
Mm-hmm.
No More Mr. Nice Guy. It's a great song by Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
And Peter Frampton.
Also good.
Yep.
No more Mr. Nice Guy. I'm gonna be singing that one all day.
It's perfect for the scene.
Do you ever listen to on like Sirius XM on the 70s on 7, like old Casey Kasem top 40?
Yeah.
That's one thing I love is like judging by Dazed and Confused, you're just like, man, every song in the 70s was good and memorable. But then like you listen to like a rando top 40 from like 1974 and you're just like, oh yeah, there were a lot of bad songs.
A lot of shitty. There's always a lot of shitty music mixed in with good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all like this, like people from the 50s hanging on too long and trying out different genre stuff. And you're just like, yikes, what is this?
It's such a good soundtrack. Both of these are so good.
Yeah.
There was this one, and then, so I love that there was a thing where they would release soundtracks and then even more Dazed and Confused. They did that with Dirty Dancing too. They have the sequel soundtrack. It was a thing. Mm-hmm. Did Pulp Fiction didn't do that, but it had a crazy, amazing soundtrack that was everywhere I went.
He always has good soundtracks.
Yeah.
That just had one. Yeah.
Okay. I just feel like every party I went to, I was like, here we go. It's the Pulp Fiction soundtrack. It was because it was so good.
That and The Commitments. I had for some reason there was like a summer there where they were playing The Commitments soundtrack.
Did we already do an episode on The Commitments? I don't think we did.
We didn't. I did it on Book versus Movie.
Yeah. We should do an episode on The Commitments sometime.
It's a great movie.
That one is so fun to rewatch. That would be good. All right. Do you want to hear about some other movies that came out in 93?
Yeah.
Okay. Mrs. Doubtfire.
I like it.
Oh, I love it.
I know this has been on our list for a while too. We will get to Mrs. Doubtfire. True Romance.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good. I know this is an Adam favorite. Malice.
Oh.
Yeah.
We should do an episode on Malice someday. The Age of Innocence.
Be me clapping for
Wait, who's in Malice again?
Alec Baldwin, Nicole Kidman, Bill Pullman.
That is a great movie. That's an awesome movie.
Yeah. George C. Scott, B.B. Newworth, Peter Gallagher. It's got like everybody in it.
That's a good one. We should do that.
I put it on the list. The Age of Innocence.
Really good movie. Kind of boring, but it's good.
A Perfect World.
That's
a really good one.
It's
a great Costner performance.
It is.
That is a great Costner performance. You're right.
That's why I had to
Laura
put it
Dern.
in.
Yeah. Oh my God. Laura Dern, like peak beautiful Laura Dern.
Yeah.
I need to rewatch Perfect World again now. Damn it. Put it on the list. The Good Son.
That's
I've seen that way too many times.
Why have you seen it so many times?
Because I had a Mac attack when I was a kid. I was just the right age, and anytime it was on TV, I read the movie novelization of The Good Son.
Oh my gosh!
I did a book report on it.
Oh my gosh, this is amazing to me.
That movie's nuts. Like you think
it
about,
is
nuts. Who would you say is like? All right, who would you say is the biggest like child actor now? Like Jacob Tremblay or something? Like who would it be?
I'm like maybe
or like
him.
Millie Bobby Brown. I don't know. So let's say Millie Bobby Brown. picture them making a movie called like The Good Daughter now, and then at the end her dad drops her off of a cliff.
Yeah.
Only in the 90s could they get away with the biggest child actor ever. And they're just like, yeah, we're gonna drop him off a cliff.
And it was like, but it was also like peak like Home Alone.
Yeah.
He was so insanely popular. It's so interesting that he would even choose to do a movie like that. That movie's fucked up.
I feel weird saying this because it was like his parents picking a lot of these parts, I think, for him. But it's so fascinating to look back on his career because it's just like Home Alone, he dies at the end of My Girl, like by bees. Home Alone 2, he dies at the end of The Good Son by getting dropped off of a cliff. Like
Richie Rich.
Fascinating. Yeah, Richie Rich is fun.
Does he die at the end of Richie Rich?
He dies in a pile of money. He jumps off a pile of money.
He overdoses.
He becomes a Republican.
His soul dies. Some other movies, Shortcuts.
Never seen it.
I like parts of Shortcuts, but I would need to rewatch. Fearless.
Never seen it.
Mm-mm.
Fearless is the one with Jeff Bridges and the plane crash.
Oh, that's a good movie, but it's intense.
It's a really good movie, and I can't rewatch it anytime soon.
No,
because I have lots of flights coming up. I think it's best I avoid that one. The Nightmare Before Christmas, which you don't like that one?
No,
like,
Jack Skellington.
I like the iconography of it, but the movie, I fall asleep like within 10 minutes, and I've tried so many times with that one.
Oh, that's okay.
That is so interesting. I rewatched it recently with Calvin, and I enjoyed it, but Calvin was like, meh. And I was like, really?
I'm with Calvin.
You are. Calvin was like, that's enough of that. He didn't care. And I was like, all right, then. We won't be watching that one anytime soon. And then the last one on the list is Remains of the Day.
Never saw it.
Never seen it.
You've never seen Remains of the Day, Margo?
That's boring.
I'm like, isn't it based on a book? Feels like
but that doesn't mean I'm gonna do it.
I actually like Remains of the Day, but
it's probably good. I shit on things sometimes, and then later on, I'm like, "Oh, this is actually a good movie." Sometimes I'm thinking with my 20-year-old brain.
I understand
some of this stuff. Yeah.
Totally
do you want to hear about some of the songs from '93?
Yes, I do.
Hot 100 songs. I'm just gonna pick some randomly. We have Spin Doctors, Two Princes. You couldn't have fucking escaped that song back then.
No, you really couldn't.
Oh my God.
Get me a Frisbee.
Boys to Men in the Still of the Night.
I don't remember that one.
I don't even remember it. Yeah, Dr. Dre, Nothing But a G Thing.
Yeah.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Snow Informer. Do you guys know that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Rex and Effects. Rump Shaker. All I want to do is a zoom, and a boom, boom. Boom. That's shake your rump.
Remember on the Bodyguard episode how I told you that I used to like dunk to NBA Jam videos and listen to the Bodyguard soundtrack, like Queen of the Night stuff?
Because you were the Queen of the Night.
I also did that with Rump Shaker by Rex.
That song is still great. I love that song. I heard it recently on the 90s on 9, and I was like, yeah, this should be on one of my playlists.
Yep.
Mariah Carey, Dream Lover. Great song.
Yep.
I
like it a lot. And we'll finish it with UB40, Can't Help Falling in Love.
From Sliver.
It's from Sliver.
Yes.
It all goes back to Sliver. It always does. I don't like that song.
It's okay. UB40 was a little weird.
No Diddy by Paperboy.
Fact.
No.
Very true. This was so fun. I am so glad that we finally talked about Dazed and Confused.
I'm glad we did too. We were wanting to wait for summer. That was a lot of it.
Yeah.
Because I always want to talk about it, but you were like, no, let's wait for summer. And it's a good summer movie.
Yes. And I was just putting it off because I was like, I love it so much. How do I talk about something I love so much? But I think we did it justice.
We fucking nailed it shut.
Yeah, we did. Adam, where can people find you on the internet?
They can't. No, I write and do podcasts on a site called fthismovie.com. So it's the letter F thismovie.com. And then I'm on Twitter at Risky Adam, and I retweet my podcast appearances and articles there. So if you're looking for everything in one place, that's the place to go. But otherwise, leave me alone.
Adam, you have so many fans. I have to say, like, whenever I tell people I'm doing an episode with you, my friends all freak out. They all think you're hilarious and they love you.
Oh, well, that's sweet. Thank you for saying that. I did not know that.
It is true.
Yeah.
They all do. And everyone's excited that we're finally going to meet in person this year. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Margo, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on social media at Brooklyn Fit Chick, mostly for Twitter and Instagram. And I would like for you to follow me on Instagram if you can. I'm writing my first book and I'm doing posting a lot of cool pictures there. So if you guys wouldn't mind, that'd be awesome. And my blog is brooklynfitchick.com.
I will start following you now. No, I'm just kidding. I've always been following Margo like a stalker. Like a stalker, even before we were friends. And if you like the sound of our voices, and I assume you do, Margo and I also co-host a podcast called What a Creep, where we talk about creeps of the past and present and end every episode with someone who's not a creep. And we're having so much fun. So please listen. You can find me at thesoniashow.com and The Sonia Show on Twitter and Instagram and even TikTok, where I'm there to ruin it for young people. And if you want to leave our show a review on Apple Podcasts, I'll be your best friend. And you can find Dorking Out Show on Twitter and sometimes Instagram. Or you can email us at dorkingoutshow@gmail.com and we'll send you some lovely stickers. And we take requests. So if you have movies you want us to talk about, send them our way. Thank you so much, Adam, for talking about Dazed and Confused with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me back. This was fun.